discover how to live our life as fully, expressively, and abundantly as possible by creating our life our way. We do this by understanding universal law, who we are and what we are made of, and trusting ourselves to take the steps necessary to grow. Some of the key takeaways today: discover where lack of trust is set.
Kelly is the author of Trust Your Next Steps, Creating the Confidence to Cut Fresh Tracks. The Clients on Purpose training program, produces the Fresh Tracks with Kelly Robbins podcast, and publishes the Edge newsletter. Kelly believes that by living our divine purpose, approaching life as a fun adventure, that's my favorite part, and trusting our next step, we can all live our lives filled with purpose and passion. Please, let's give a warm welcome to Kelly Robbins.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
No.
No? I can get really loud. Are we good? Can you hear me now? Oh, there we go. Okay. Woohoo, the party has started. Well, thank you guys for having me as a speaker. This is actually my third time speaking here over the last probably 15 years. I did one of my first talks here on blogging when blogging was new. That's how old I am, and some of you are. But it's really an interesting concept, business and spirituality. A lot of times we don't put those two things together. I know I didn't, even when I first came here 15 years ago. I didn't put those two together, and since I have, wow, like how much has changed in my life. I'm a mom of 3 kids. I have 3 daughters who are grown. And I started my first business when my 3rd daughter was born. I quit my corporate job. I worked at UPS. I was a truck driver. I worked at UPS for 13 years. I make everyone drive a truck and do scratch. Do so many packages, so much time. But it was a big leap of faith that I took to quit my job, but I just knew it wasn't working. Like corporate America and 3 kids, I wasn't being a good mom. I couldn't go to brownies and do all the mom things I wanted to geek out on. And I wasn't the first one at work and the last one there, like wasn't working. So I quit. We took a leap and I didn't know what to do. I bought this book, 101 Ways for Moms to Make Money at Home, like just exactly what I needed. I went through every page, like bookkeeper, editor, it had all these things. And one of them said copywriter. And a copywriter writes like newsletters and websites for companies. And I thought, well, I bet I could do that. So I started a copywriting business. And here I am, 22 years later, my daughter just turned 22, still in business. And here I am, almost a minister. Like I will be done with ministerial school here. Melissa's back there going, woo! In May, end of May, beginning of June is when my classes are done. So 22 years ago, could I have ever plotted that I would be here talking about spirit and how it coincides with business? No, I didn't even go to church 10 years ago. Like it was not on the radar. And through just a series of steps, life has evolved, and I feel very blessed to be an author of a book, to have, with 3 kids, I got divorced in there like I supported 3 kids. I raised 3 kids. I had full custody of my kids. We paid our bills. We made it. Like, I'm not this multi-millionaire here to talk to you about Steve Jobs. You know, I'm not this big millionaire, and I have a very fulfilling life, and I love what I'm doing, and it keeps changing, and it keeps falling apart, and then new things come up, and it's beautiful in its own right. And my intention is that when each of you leave here today, you have at least one, if not more, just little shifts or insights that you can make to create more of that for yourself in whatever that looks like. It might be having more leads in your business. I know it's always one of those things, finding people to talk to. It might be making more money. It might be having balance. For me, freedom has always been more important even than, you know, there's getting your bills paid and then there's making tons of money. For me, freedom has been that trigger that's been the key. I like to go skiing when I want and not be in lines on the weekend. I like to be able to do things with choice. In corporate America, I didn't have that. That's always been, or go to brownies or whatever that was. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Making more money, having more leads, clients, and then the other thing that I wrote down is having confidence in yourself and what you're doing. I don't know, I'm just going to tell you guys right off the bat that this talk is way better if you participate. So if you have questions or you want to add something, please do. I'm going to be a minister. I can talk for hours on end without interruption, and we don't want that. It's really, so feel free to ask a question or pipe up if there's something, and we can just kind of organically go. I know it's not a workshop, but for me, having confidence in who I am and what I'm doing has been a key factor in my success. And I would never, looking back at Kelly over the years, I would never say I'm not confident in myself, but I wasn't. I always questioned my ability as a writer, as a copywriter. I questioned my ability as a salesperson, or I'm shy going out. There's always something. And I do it, but I was always didn't have that confidence in myself. And when I talk about trusting your next step, which we'll get into as we go on, there's this piece, there's this confidence that we develop inside, that's an inside job that's hard sometimes to put words to, but when we have confidence in ourselves and we trust ourselves, taking those steps becomes easier and more natural. And for me, the piece of knowing who I am and the tools I have to work with was the key to having that confidence and trusting myself. And when I say knowing who I am, to me, that's spirit expressing itself. What does that mean? Knowing the tools I have to work with, to me, that's universal law and understanding what does this mean? What is, people call it quantum physics, God, like it goes by a million things, but how does it work? I would see people not working as hard as me and not as smart as me, being more successful. They would get clients faster, they made more money, and I'm like, what? That's not right. There's something else that I didn't know. So I had my copywriting business when I started, built a website, did all the, I was worked very hard. Started publishing a newsletter and doing all the things I was reading I was supposed to do. And I just was barely making ends meet. I'd have business and then it would die off and have business and it would die off. And I started targeting the healthcare industry and working with hospitals, writing web pages and doing different things. And I quickly learned that you can only make so much money when you charge by the hour or when it's by a project. And I had learned about selling training and products online and then kind of supplementing it with doing the actual work. So I started having like classes and books online that I was selling, and I would sell things on the internet. which was pretty cool. A lot of freedom when that happens, but I still just had this threshold I couldn't get past. So I bought this workshop from this business coach, and I had to fly to Las Vegas for this weekend workshop. And I thought, well, it's got to just be, my Excel spreadsheet isn't quite right, my business plan, I had a marketing degree, so I know marketing. And I'm expecting to just sit there at this workshop and go through business reports and do things. Shocking to me, that was not what we talked about. It was a man, David was his name, and he talked about how we are being business, not what we are doing. And I had never heard anything like that before. And it was, 2.5 days, and I remember sitting there going, am I getting just, what did I just do? He had to feel like it was really a crazy thing, but I was watching him do like laser coaching with different people. He talked about the energy that we had to work with, and really, sales is not something that we do to someone, it's something we do for someone, and shifting to come from that place of giving. And getting out of this place, oh my gosh, I have to pay my bills, I need money, but getting into that place of how can I serve you? How can I help you? Which isn't easy to do. But this man, he talked about universal law. He quoted Thomas Troward, who is an old teacher of our teaching here at Mile High Church. Just thinking, I've never heard before, and I remember going home, sitting in the airport, thinking about sitting at the Las Vegas airport, just this whirlwind weekend, thinking, did I get ripped off? Like, what's the deal here? What did I just do? And processing what goes on. And the man had said, if you can look at your business, look at what you're doing, when we're failing, when we're struggling with an area, we want to get to the cause and not the effect. And in practitioner training, we learn about cause and effect, and our job is to uncover what's really underneath why I'm struggling, what's really underneath why I'm stopping or not seeing where the leads are, or where my business should expand to. And the man had said it's either a lack of searching for love, security, or low self-esteem. And I sat in the Las Vegas airport going, do I feel not loved? Am I insecure? Am I worried about being homeless? Or, is there this underlying fear of people not liking me? Or self-esteem, I was thinking through these things, and I thought, well, maybe it's self-esteem. I went back home, and I just started taking courses after courses and coaching and learning about me and who am I? What's really going on underneath all of this facade? This Kelly, and here I am, probably 15 years later. I'm still on the same journey, still taking classes, still in minutes, I just keep going because it's so fascinating. Actually, it is really a fascinating thing to deepen into what it means to be me. Who am I? Really? What's my purpose here to do? And my business, I took it from copywriting and the biz products I had online. I started having other copywriters call me and saying, will you teach me? I want to be home with my kids too, or I want to take care of my mom, or travel, because a lot of the writers wanted to travel and have a free day. I was like, sure. So I wrote a class and started coaching, and the business went to this natural evolution. I called it the Copywriting Institute, of teaching people just how to do what I did. It was its own natural thing. It was fun. And then I started seeing, like, I had the exact same, it was a 6-month program, exact same thing. And some people would have clients in 2 weeks, and we're just focusing on learning the writing, and other people after 6 months never got one. It was the exact same training, and different people were getting totally different results. So I got curious, what's that about? It's what they expect to happen, right? It had nothing to do with anything. It was all, how are you being? Which kind of went back to what that Coach David had said, but I was seeing it in real life. And I still was doing my newsletter, writing every week. I had 2 for a while there. And ended up letting one go, and I writing, doing all this, and life was busy. As the kids got older, it was just busy. And the coaching, I was really pretty good at coaching, and seeing that coaching, a lot of it is seeing the cause and effect. Someone coming and saying, well, I did all of this and I'm still not making any money. I still don't have this done. It's being able to help them see where you're not in alignment with universal law. What does that mean? Helping them see that. And as I'm doing this and kind of still start taking meditation classes and practicing working with energy. There was a company, a lady in Lakewood here that taught, she had like a 2-year program. Turned out it was on how to be a psychic, which I didn't know, but I learned how to work with energy and feel energy. And it was just fun. Like I was just doing it just because I could. But I started being able to see people, and I'd ask questions and they'd start telling me what they really wanted to do. And never once was it copywriting. Like no one's purpose was copywriting. The minute that I had that realization, my sales went long. Like I couldn't sell someone, like you could see your purpose and help you go there. So my business was forced to readjust again, right? And I went more in the direction of the personal development and the spiritual piece. And well, what do you need to know? It's not about all the doing, because I'm a doer. It was how am I being? What am I doing? So the question became first, and this is one of the things that for you to take, this might be something I would like for you to take away from here, is who am I? What does that mean? If we don't know who we are, it's hard to have that confidence in thinking we can maybe create or manifest something that seems out of reach. So taking time to journal or sit with who I am, and some of you might answer, well, I am God, I am the energy. You might have the right answer, but do you know, like inside, what that really means? Like, do you really believe that? And for me, it's taken like studying and learning and trying different things and falling on my face 8 million times to pick myself back up. But what does it mean to you? Who am I? 12-step programs do a lot. I ended up getting involved in Al-Anon with a family that had addiction issues. And the process they walk you through really, it's not religious, and you look at who am I and what do I really believe about who I am. And it's not like I can tell you the answer and you just go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go sell 50,000 widgets today. It's this process of really believing who I am, and that the energy that is God or the divine flows through you. It's not me writing another article, or me blogging, or me standing up here and talking to everyone. It's me putting myself in the situation and knowing Melissa, and showing up on Sundays to come to church, but it's then me trusting and letting go of all of it, and the words can come out that you need to hear. And you might hear something totally different than what you hear, but it's having that trust. Because I know who I am and what I'm made of. And for you, what is your business? There were several realtors, mortgage, healers are trained a little more on the getting out of the way and letting go. How do I know that it's not me? Because I fail. I fail all the time. And when I'm forcing things or just doing things because I'm supposed to, I don't really get results. I get it done. There was a period of time where my newsletter, I would write it every week. I was getting 150 new people signing up every week to my newsletter. How I got leads was online. And I did it every week. And then suddenly you could see, like on a chart, all of a sudden it went, whoa. And I'm like, oh my God, my business. What's happening? It took me a little while to realize what was like, this is not good. I don't have new people to talk to. And I stopped and I talked with my coach and looked at what was going on. And what was going on was I was sick of writing my newsletter. Every week I was just writing it. Get it done, move on. Because there's more fun things to do. And it showed up because of how I was being as I was doing the newsletter. I was being, get it done. I was being, well, I've got this mastered. Let me focus on writing this new class, or, doing whatever. And the results showed. Because my numbers in business is a spiritual system. It is a good, solid system. When you have it set, the foundation is strong. And there is absolutely no reason why a business system shouldn't work. If your numbers go down, it's how it's you and how you're being. Check it. Are you doing it because you're supposed to? Or are you getting grounded and taking a breath and putting yourself in this place of serving? It is a vibration. You can sit here right now and say, well, where am I struggling? Or what's changed? And it's how am I being when I'm doing it? Am I doing it because I think I'm supposed to? And those of us who are doers, like I'm a doer, like I get stuff done. I have to just slow down. I don't need to work as hard. So know who you are and what you're made of. Qualities of God. So I'm going to present this to you, which this to me was a game changer. I know not everyone here goes to this church. So I did not go to church. Yes, Fred.
So what happened after you found that dip?
After I found that dip, I course corrected and I slowed down and put more time and love into writing the newsletter every week, and the numbers went back up. They never went back up to the 150 because it was more than that. It was me just wanting to get it done, but it was also at the same time like I was needing to grow into my next self of being the spiritual coach and not the copywriting coach. And I was resisting that because who buys spiritual coaching? How do you sell that? When you're selling copywriting, I'm selling an outcome. I mean, it was a big shift, and I really did struggle to go there, but it fixed itself. But I had a bigger thing to look at than even the newsletter because I outgrew where I was. And that was when we talk about trusting our next step. Like I had to trust that, shit keeps changing, man. Just when I got it figured out. I mean, I had it figured out. It was enough. I was paying bills. I was doing pretty good back. There's a couple years, that was the most I ever made. Like it was good. But so to answer your question, it did fix itself. And I also, because I stopped, I realized, well, I was not being in integrity with myself, selling copywriting classes to somebody who really wanted to do music, something. The copywriting for me was a means to an end. Like I could make money and stay home with my kids to have the freedom, which was perfect. And that changed as I evolved. And all of us, as we continue in our businesses, it's like we will continue growing and evolving too, and the business kind of has to with it when it's ours. Even in a job you're in, the business itself, I like to visualize and play with the energy. It's its own life force. I make like a circle and I give it a color that's swirly and moves. It's its own energy. And as the business owner, the founder, I am feeding that energy to that business. So it's just important that I watch my energy and what I'm putting into it. Same thing with any job. I mean, you might be part of a company, but you still have your life, your circle of it. And which was the point I was going to next, is our job is to be very diligent in protecting our energy and cultivating what that is. Does that make sense to everybody? So this was the game changer that I was getting to. I took a class here. Oh. So I did not go to church ever. Like if you said church to me or God, I was like, you know, those 12-step programs or like I said, the Al-Anon, like I am a writer. I picked apart every word on every step. And I would substitute words to what I could work with, like higher power, I would say universe, like, you know, like I would switch it to make it work. I did a lot of work on it to get here. Here I am, a minister. And 10 years ago, I didn't go to church. But it's a different story. But I came to church here, actually, and I came a couple months, just cried because the vibration I've determined in that chapel, I was in such a low place personally, the divorce and the things. When I came in, I think it felt so high, the vibration, my body just cried. Like for a couple months, I just cried because it was such a gap and beautiful, and I just cried. But I started taking classes, because I like to take classes and learn new things. The first class is called Beyond Limits. Dr. Roger was a minister that used to be here, taught it, and he taught us the qualities of God and this energy that we call the universe. I think in quantum physics, the field, whatever word you use. These qualities are love, power, wisdom or light, beauty, joy, life, like more life, as in that always expanding search for more life, abundance, and peace. And that was a game changer. I'd never heard of that before. But it gave me, like, peace has a feeling, it has a vibration to it. And it gave me something to go play around with. Like, what does peace feel like? I still, to this day, pick different ones and just play with them, because you can always be more loved. If I'm going to go write an article or give a talk or, you know, whatever, go play with my granddaughter. Go play with my granddaughter. What is how do I want to show up? And if you're struggling in your business, or you have a goal, it doesn't even have to be your business. If you have a goal that you keep having and keep struggling with, what quality of God are you not embodying? Like, that's a game changer. For me, it was a game changer. And I'm not going to do it today because I thought we might have, I just am going to keep talking. But if you wrote those down, I have them in the book also. Go sit with each word, with each of those qualities and journal it, or see which ones pop up for you. Because Spirit, if you sit with it, it will come to you. You are not being peace. Your business needs more peace. Your financial life. We default to abundance, but it's not, they all work together. They're all part of one. Does that make sense? Go play with that. So we're talking about protecting our energy. Our energy is what feeds into the business. Protect it with your life. If you're here like me, showing up at this business honoring spirituality, you're putting yourself around other like-minded people. There are places in your life where you may not have, people like us, but you may have people who are really unhealthy to be around. Your relationships affect your energy. You work so hard, you meditate every day, you read these books, you go to these uplifting networking events, and then you're mom or your kid or your boss, somebody comes in and knocks all that shit around, you've been working so hard, you cannot allow that. You have to be disciplined about what you permit in your space, like a fanatic. Protect it with your life. And that might sound kind of, I'm not here talking about Excel spreadsheets, right? Like that time I was so in shock in Las Vegas, but it's true. What comes in affects what goes out. And a lot of us, I would bet, because you all are, a lot of us put a lot of time into what we put in. We're very conscious about what we put in. That affects our work. It affects how we show up in our partnerships. And the big sabotager can be other people, even just driving to, how much are you letting other people come in your space? And then the final piece of that is your environment, like your home, your work, your car. Yeah.
So if you can take a minute and just dive a little deeper into that, share an example of protecting it with your life.
Well, I got divorced.
You got your relationship.
Yes.
So you're divorced, or a daughter, mother.
Yeah, so let me give you an example. Just even in business, I've shared how much mine's changed. It keeps changing. I change what networking groups I go to. The people in the coaching and the classes I take are continually changing. I don't want to say up-leveling, but I get more and more, like there's a different group of people in it becoming ministers and becoming practicing DD, and I were in practitioner class together. Like that was a game changer. When that guy in Las Vegas, I ended up doing coaching with him. I spent like money I didn't have, like $25,000. I did not have, I can't believe I did it, but I knew I needed help and I was so desperate. And he told me, he said, Kelly, do you have any, I was meeting people like me around the country. And he said, Kelly, do you have anyone with your belief? Didn't go to church, but with your spiritual beliefs by you. And I was like, no, just you guys. And he said, well, you need to find some. And I sat there going, gosh, I live in Colorado. There's so many cool people. Why don't I know? He said, if you're still hanging out with your high school friends or just your neighbors, you are not changing that part of your life. If you're asking your mom or dad for business advice, like that's not, you got to be intentional. So that was partly why I started coming here, was to meet people. And I remember sitting there going, Colorado has a lot of really cool people. Why don't I know any? You know what I mean? But I didn't look. I hadn't been looking. I hadn't been conscious about making friends by me. I had the kids and it was busy with raising them. So it was being very intentional that way. Okay. And then one other thing I will add to that is, so I talked about who you are. I'm just going to tie this whole talk together. The other thing is knowing what you have to work with. The laws. What is universal law? We talked about this energy or the field or God. What are we working with? We call it universal law. And you might hear law of attraction and people have heard about. It's all one, and we give it different names to play with different angles of it, to come at it from different ways, to refine how we're using our tools. And one of the tools that I teach is the law of sacrifice. Like there's law of attraction, law of sacrifice. What does that mean? It means to make room for something new in your life. You have to let go of something of a lower value, a lower vibration. So for me to bring in new friends or new business people to talk about business with and play with, I have to let go of something. Like I'm doing something with my day. I'm running kids around, or I'm watching TV, or I'm hiking or I'm skiing. Something has to give. I have to let go of something. Might be old friends from high school I don't spend as much time with, and I have a choice to spend the time with you guys or my minister, Does that make sense? So that's the other aspect to your question, is being conscious of who you're with and also knowing that you have to let go of something to make room for it. And we often don't want to let go of things.
That's what I have. It's hard, but I finally got to a place where something feels like a chore to me and I'm not finding joy in it anymore. And devote more time to the things that do, groups like this, the other groups that I think that's a choice. That's the way to other things that give me joy.
Yeah.
But it's hard to walk away, especially spending time.
It can be really hard to walk away. Because when we get that our life is good and we want to still move up to more, sometimes we have to let go of things that we still enjoy even to make room for a higher, better.
Well, we're headed toward environment, and I think that the company we keep is so much. The company we keep is part of our environment.
It for sure is, yeah.
Because environment, I mean, that's what I
Yeah.
it works for puppies.
Environment is everything. Because why? It affects how you're being so much, right? Yeah.
I'd like to just make an observation as I listen to you, and it's kind of a kudos, a shout out. So I know a particular person who was starting to get into real estate, and she was very reticent about letting go of her other job, which was security, finance, I mean, providing financial needs. And then through her new environment, the support she got from that group as well as with others, Allison made the shift, dropped that other job, and she is highly successful as a real estate agent.
And what did it take for Allison to leave that job and step into the new one? I'm going to say is she trusted herself, which is, I want to make sure I touch on it because it is the whole point of the talk. Getting to this place where you trust yourself, right? And part of trusting yourself, a big part of it to me is knowing who you are, knowing what you have to work with, and knowing that you're going to follow through with your word that you give to yourself. And I think this is a really key point that I wanted to make sure that I at least plant the seed of that today, is a lot of us pride ourselves on being a person of integrity and keeping our word. Like if I tell you, oh, Melissa, I'll be here by 6:45, no problem, I'll show up at 6:45, like I will be early. If I have a deadline with my book publisher, like, I keep my word, but when it comes to keeping my word to myself, doesn't always happen because no one knows, right? And we often make promises to ourselves. New Year's resolutions are a perfect example that we just don't keep. Well, I'm going to work out. Every morning at 5 a.m. I'm going to get up. Or I'm going to really cut back on the sweets and the chocolate. Like we make little big comments to ourselves. Or I'm going to wash the car tonight. And you don't do it. Little things that we've done our entire lives that we aren't even really conscious of, but we don't keep our word to ourselves, and the end result is by the time we're, 53 years old or however old you are, we don't trust ourselves. And we don't know we don't trust ourselves. No one knows because no one knows the conversation we're having. And it affects everything. Because if we're working with universal law, with this law that is the same for everyone, we all have the exact same tools to work with, and we're all made of the same essence, that same stuff, and we're all different. We've all had these different lives and different gifts and different ups and downs. And our job is to unravel that and find out where we're not working in alignment with the law. where we're not being who we are, those qualities of God or whatever that is, so that we can rebuild our trust in ourselves and know when I tell myself I'm going to go work out at 5 a.m., I am going to be careful of the promises that we make. Maybe I don't say I'm going to go work out at 5 a.m. Maybe I just start with, well, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. And we're really conscious of what we're talking to ourselves because it affects our business results. Does that make sense? Does it make sense why it's important? Yeah.
So if I may, as a life, I'm in total agreement with everything that you said. I also am a member of Baha'i Church, so I do understand the principles that you're talking about. I think it's important, and the 4 words that you use that I think we need to always keep emphasizing as coaches is getting to that place. It's a journey. It doesn't just happen. You don't wake up one morning enlightened. And if you think you do, go and spend 8 days with family members. You won't come back and realize just how unwoke you are. But it's so important for us to realize that there are forces that are working against us. In my coaching practice, I call it ecology. Those voices in our heads that we have heard since we were this high. Do you know how difficult it is to lose those voices? They are ingrained in who we are. And just
It's part of the process.
I just don't want people to think it's easy, because it is not easy at all. It's hard work, but it is so.
And I think the beautiful thing about a business, unlike perhaps just our personal life, is that in business you can see your results because we have measurement. It's very solid structure. Okay, so I have 2 minutes. What a question. Yeah.
I would say what has been tremendously helpful for me, especially in business, has been having supportive accountability partners. That has been massive. And he, spoiler, spotlight number, I was going to bring this up because he said one of the best pieces of advice he ever received was to, come from a place of abundance and surround yourself with professional, like-minded professionals. And we've done that for years. The realtors in this room get together and we're supporting each other. And it's so much easier to get to that place when you have those people surrounding you and keeping you accountable.
It is a beautiful thing to have that. And to know that you have someone to go, you have a community to go talk to that gets you and that you can be comfortable being yourself with. And I'm going to say, as much as that is a beautiful, important thing to have, it's just as important to have someone in your life who's going to say, call you on your shit. Someone who's not your yes person and who will, it's why, as a practitioners here at Mile High Church, people pay, or coach, people pay you to come have someone be honest and say, look, this is going on and this is going on and something's not right if you're not getting your results. So someone who will say, look, this is your effect, here's why. You're, whatever. I can see this voice in me is happening, right? This happened in the past, there's trauma, whatever is going on. And my time is up, but part of what I want you to do to pay attention to is where are you stopping on your business journey? Where is this idea in your head that you have to go up to this person and start a conversation or call this business or whatever that looks like for you, where are you not? Because that edge right there, if we're in this space, I still have more to say. We're in this space where everything is possible and we all have these same tools to work with. Where are you stopping? Where are you not seeing? And you can say to yourself, I choose to see. If you've got this idea to do this business or to go to this number in your business and the opportunity is there and you're not seeing it, and you have to demand it of yourself, and you have to have the discipline and trust in yourself to know that you will take that next step, that you will do it even if it sounds crazy, like going to become a minister or a practitioner, right? No matter what it is, it might sound ridiculous, but that's the whole point, is that growth and the stretch. We don't see it because we're busy, or it's ridiculous or whatever, or we don't listen, we don't take the action on it because we don't trust ourselves to follow through with it or to get the results we want. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Kelly Robbins. Once again, another big hand for Kelly Robbins. And I needed to hear what I needed to hear. It was exactly what I needed to hear this morning. I too took business Beyond Limits for BHS, and one of my prayers was I was a bartender. Now I am a sound dealer. So I'm going to go home and tell my wife that I'm quitting my restaurant job. Trust, right?
Yes. Oh, that's scary.
No, I really do appreciate that speech. That was and you know, one of the things that I was really excited that we're probably going to talk about in announcements here is that this group has really given me the tools, exactly what we're talking about, the faith and the trust, and then we get to take those things out into the world. So we do have an upcoming event on March 30th that I'm really excited about. It's a day of service where you can sign up and participate, and we get to go. I'll let Allison talk about that. Pretty point person on this, so.
I'll just point out those, please don't leave here without signing up. We need to know, well, a little help needs to know, so they can plan where we're going and who we're going to help. So QR codes are on your table that'll go directly to our Ditch the Desk event link, and just sign up quickly so they can get us our assignment. But I'm going to let Zach talk a little bit about this. He's really spearheading this event. We thought it'd be a great idea to get together. We're all heart-centered business owners. A lot of us get back in our businesses. I've worked with them before. They're awesome. It's going to be a great way for us to become closer with those that we're working with too. I've walked away from a little help with really, really good friends from this. They're still friends to this day. So I guess we'll do time.
Thanks, Allison. Yeah, it should be a great event. Who all is familiar with A Little Help? Anybody? Okay. So basically what A Little Help is it's a nonprofit organization that gets together to help the lives of seniors in our local community. In particular, yard work, like maintenance, things like that. So we thought it would be a good idea to get people together to be of service. Some people say, well, is there a higher purpose to serve others? We're presenting an opportunity to just that today. Basically, we're going to get a group of people together, and we will be going out to different residences here in Lakewood to do light yard work, break leaves. We're just here to offer a little help. So if you could sign up today, Allison did a great job putting these flyers together, making it very easy to sign up. Just click on the QR code, get that for BHS. And I think we have that on Facebook.
It's on Facebook. It's on the Facebook group. It's in our newsletter, and we're going to gather here then at 10 a.m.
Yes. Yes.
We'll start here and then fan out.
Yeah, and we'll have details as to where we're going.
It all depends on you guys signing up. So the more people we can help, the better. And don't be intimidated. It's very easy. I can't do maintenance, but I can rake leaves or clean up things around the house, some light housework, whatever they need. Just wear comfortable clothing, closed-toed shoes, be comfy, and prepare to possibly be outside. It's very, very easy.
Right, moving rocks.
Yeah.
Was there any other?
Right. meeting is April 6th here at 7 a.m. Thank you everyone who's gotten on board with the QR code sign-in sheet. That's really helpful for us on the board. We're trying to streamline our processes here so people don't have to spend a lot of time trying to like figure out your handwriting. So it's going right to our digital sign-in sheet. It's super, super helpful. Thank you for getting on board. I want to acknowledge that we have 2 new paid annual members today. Yay, Renee Rodriguez in the back. Thank you so much. By purchasing a $99 annual membership, you are really helping us grow. Jan Golden is working really hard on a nice, beautiful website that we're going to be proud to show off and showcase our businesses. We are doing also member spotlights, which have you come up, is our member spotlight of the week. Yes, come on. You've probably seen this on our Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram, our newsletter. We're featuring one member every other week who has purchased an annual membership, and he did so last week, so you'll see him. And I will say, if you caught, has anyone seen his picture? He is windsurfing, and it's pretty darn cool. I think he submitted the best picture so far. But I wanted to give Pete a little bit of time to speak more about his business, and I really wanted to ask him too about windsurfing, because it's probably something you didn't know about him. Tell us.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your windsurfing. When did you start, and how did you get into this?
Well, windsurfing was a fad. It was the fastest growing sport in the U.S. in the 80s. And I got caught up in that. And it was, for me, it was an adrenaline rush, just being able to use natural forces and to go anywhere I wanted and to be able to go faster and faster. And of course, you know, newfound friends. It was a whole new group of people. I was all by myself when I started. And then they actually became my core group of friends since the 80s through today. From windsurfing, I started going around the country just to go windsurfing. Down to California, to the East Coast, Washington, Oregon area, to Texas, and some of the big lakes in the US. And then I started going to other places like Aruba and Bonaire and Costa Rica for windsurfing. I went to Western Australia just for windsurfing. So I mean, this took over, and it was really an addictive thing, addictive for adrenaline and the people, the camaraderie. And it was also interesting to see how it changed other people's lives, how they built businesses out of their passion. And it led to divorces of many, because one was addicted to the sport and the other was not. And it was just really interesting, and we still get around to talk about that. Right now, my thing is, I still windsurf. I'm one of the few relics that hang on to it. My garage is, I have a wall full of gear, but now I'm shifting into, I went into kite surfing, and now I'm getting into wind waving, which I can do on snow, land as well. That's
awesome.
something that you might not have known about me.
And you also did indicate that we didn't know that you had hair. I didn't get the picture yet, so we need proof.
I will dig up. There's a lot of photos where the water and the wind has flipped the hair over my face.
Thank you. And you all know Pete is a realtor with Remax, and he is wonderful, and I happen to be working with him right now. And he cares so much about his clients, and he just do a tremendous job in any transaction because he is very heart-centered and service-minded. He constantly reminds me, just come from that place of service, come from that place of service. And it's definitely serving. But I encourage you guys, so we all have these wonderful stories. That is really, I don't have a story like that going to Australia and windsurf, but make coffee plans with somebody in this room, go get to learn about somebody else that you don't know about. The day of service will be a great opportunity because we're working side by side, raking weeds. It's a great way for us to get to know a little bit more about each other outside of our business. Tables, we don't we'll have our speaker, be at her table, and do you want to talk about, do you have any promotions or anything you want to talk about, or just, we'll come visit you at your table? Okay. Members will get a table, every paid member gets a table, an opportunity to share their business, or you can just pay $25 to get a table and showcase your services or products that you sell. Let's see, and we're still looking for breakfast help. Jeremy, we're trying. Who likes to get up early and help Jeremy? If you know anybody that might be a good fit for that, it's pretty easy. We've got it pretty nailed down. We just need somebody to come in and help us set up in the morning for our breakfast. And I think that's all I have. Anything else? Does anybody want to give any kudos to anybody? Anybody done business lately with somebody in this room?
I've had the great pleasure of doing business with both wonderful real estate agents, and there's 35,000 real estate agents. And quite frankly, I don't want to work with all, but I would love to work with these fine realtors anytime. And it really does make things much easier in transaction. Because purchasing real estate is one of the biggest things you can do. There's a lot of moving parts, so people are stressed out. There's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes the real estate agents don't handle that very well, and then it starts becoming negative. And to be able to work in a very positive environment where we're all is quite a pleasure. So I do think that these are two great real estate agents.
Maybe the first meeting.
Yeah.
Trifecta. We've got
This is what we call a trifecta. I mean, there's 35,000 agents in the Front Range. There must be 70,000 lenders.
At least.
And, Zach does snap his fingers and make sure the money's there, going through all the steps, the processes, all the requirements. When there's hiccups, as oftentimes it happens with the lending side or the buyers, the people qualifying for the money, he works through it, gets it done, and boom, that money. And this is so much fun because it's a BHS transaction. She represents her clients, I represent my clients, and Zach is taking care of it. Wow, BHS, it's so much fun.
Was there any other
I think that's it.
announcements, or do you remember?
Should we pace out? Okay. Thank you. That's how I feel after this morning. So just joining me in stepping right back into that magical, beautiful, peaceful state. I'm so grateful just to know that this power, this message of trust, it applies in every faction of our lives. And as we come together and deepen, we also get to go out into the world and share this joy and spread this absolute, infectious, solid, grounded knowledge. I love the idea of slowing down and staying in that energy. And I just bless everybody on their travels as they move through the week and these upcoming weeks. And may we come together at the end of the month and spread this joy to all. I also just want to take a moment to ask the angels, ask for that level of support. May it rain down on anyone who is currently struggling. And as we just take this moment of silence and togetherness to wrap up doctors who are serving patients who might be struggling and anyone who feels alone, know that there is something bigger than this, that there is this power. And I just release these words into that law of action that is 100% always there, moving in and through, whether we're aware of it or not. There it is. And I release these words now. I'm so grateful, so thankful, so it.
All right, we do have time for networking.